All right, what is up, guys? Astronomical 13 back with another roster update video. This time we're going to be going after the fourth roster update, which is coming out in about 2.5 weeks here. But I figured I'd hit you guys with some early investments. That way you can get them on a little bit of a cheaper side before they all go up in price once we get like a week or so from the update. I'm going to be giving you guys 5 players today, like I usually do. Plus, I'm going to throw in about 3 honorable mentions. That way, if you're wanting to invest in a lot of places, you can go ahead and do that with a couple extra players. So far in the season, we've had 3 roster updates. I've given you 5 players for every roster update. I've hit 14 out of 15 players. Last week, once again, for back-to-back roster updates, I went 5 for 5. I had Emmanuel Clase, who went from an 85 to an 87 overall. We had Kyle Tucker, who went from 88 to 89. We had Ben Brown for the Chicago Cubs, who went from a 64 to a 69 overall. He should have been, probably a few more higher than that because San Diego Studios still has him listed as a relief pitcher. So hold on to him. Maybe this in the next roster update or two, they will make him a starter and get his overall bumped up a little bit more. He is on the injured list right now, but he was starting games before he got hurt. We also had Lars Nootbaar of the Cardinals. Unfortunately, he only got a +1 bump. He went from a 78 to a 77 to a 78 overall, rather. So while we didn't make stubs there, we did get the attribute upgrade +1. So if you quick sold him, you probably made your stubs back, broke even. And then we had Joey Ortiz from the Milwaukee Brewers. He went from a 73 to a 78 overall. We made a bunch of stubs on him as he was a player nobody was really talking about. And yeah, like I said, we had a lot of him and we made a lot of stubs on him. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and let's jump right into some attribute upgrades. Now, this first guy I'm talking about here is Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox. The price has skyrocketed in the last 48 hours or so here. As you can see, if we go to my completed orders, page 17 here, I bought a bunch of Garrett Crochets for 1,900 stubs. I think this is about 5 or 6 days ago when the roster update first dropped. So we went ahead and bought a lot of Garrett Crochets. As you can see, I owe 60. This is a player I really think is guaranteed to go diamond right now. He's one of the best starting pitchers in baseball. He's got the #1 expected or weighted expected on base average for qualified pitchers, and that's above guys like Tariq Skubal. That's above guys like Ranger Suarez, Luis Gale, Tyler Glasnow. He's truly one of a kind. He switched from a reliever to a starter, and he fit that role perfectly. He's got a 96% K-tile, and that's for starters and relievers. So he's striking guys out like he would a relief pitcher. He's #2 in K percentage among qualified starting pitchers, only 0.1% behind Tyler Glasnow. His K per 9 right now is a 78. I really think that's a number that's going to reach the high 80s, possibly the low 90s after this attribute upgrade. Walks per 9, home runs per 9 have a lot of room to grow as well. He has allowed 9 home runs on the season, which is very bad. But in the months of May and June, in 7 starts, he's only allowed 2 home runs in 41 innings pitched. Going back to the K per 9 as well, in those 41 innings pitched in the last month and a half, he's had 56 strikeouts. So Garrett Crochet completely dominating after a couple rough starts to start the season. He's on another planet. I think he should have 2 or 3 more starts before this roster update comes out. If he pitches like he has been, he's a guaranteed diamond, if not like an 86, 87 overall diamond. He faces the Mariners tonight. That's a really good matchup for him. Mariners have a below a 700 OPS in the last month or so versus lefties. So go ahead and buy a bunch of Garrett Crochets. Yes, he is going up to 2650 right now. Even like an hour ago, he was only going for 2400. Go ahead and buy Crochet. I really think the risk is low with him, as he's one of the best starting pitchers in the game, and he's still gold. So go ahead and buy Garrett Crochet. Now, for the second player, we are keeping it in the Central. We are heading on to the hot corner, and we are talking about the Rolls-Royce Royce Lewis. Now, this, I believe, is going to be a little bit of a long-term, investment here. I have 20 of them. He's going for 1,300 stubs right now, which quick sells for 81 is 600 stubs, but 83 overall quick sell is 1,200, which I think he should easily get to that. He was a diamond in MLB The Show 23, so I think he's got the track record there in order for him to get his attribute there. He's only got 33 at-bats this year, but he's showing like he's a beast like he has been his entire career. He already has 5 home runs on the season, and he's played 7 games maybe. Like I said, I mentioned previously, he finished as a Live Series Diamond last year. He should have an easier route to go Diamond as maybe a player that was bad in years prior. He finished with a 309 average and a 920 OPS last year, which is elite. I really don't know why he started as an 81 overall this year. Royce is the backbone of this Twins team. He offers everything in terms of hitting, power. Really the only thing he doesn't do is walk. He even has cut his strikeouts down as well. I think he gets a vision boost. I think he gets a contact boost for both sides. I think he should get to an 83 overall very, very easily with this next roster update as he continues to hit. And potentially the 5th roster update in about a month or so, he should get diamond. If you buy him at 1,300, he goes up to an 86. You're looking to make 3,000 stubs a pop, as a 86 overall sells for 37.50 quick sell. So more like 2,000 stubs, but you get my point. Buy Royce Lewis now, invest him a little bit more long term, guarantee yourself some stubs down the road. For our third player, we are staying in the Central, but this time we are hopping over to the National League side, and we are talking about Brian Hudson of the Milwaukee Brewers. This guy is an absolute beast. The Brewers are an amazing team that consistently, even as a Cubs fan, it sucks, but they consistently get underrated every single year, and they have underrated players every single year. Who's heard of Brian Hudson before this season? He got drafted by the Cubs like 10 years ago. He got released about 3 or 4 years ago. He signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers traded him to the Brewers, and now we're here talking about him potentially becoming a gold player. If he pitches like he has been, he will become a gold player the next roster update. He's got a 245 expected weighted on-base average, which is elite. I believe it is top 15 in the MLB right now. He's got overall amazing numbers with incredible analytics. He's got a 94th percentile K rate at 32.3%. He's got 43 Ks and 36 innings pitched. This card needs a huge, huge boost to Ks per nines. Should land him in the high 70s to low 80s. But you think a guy that strikes out a lot, he maybe has an issue with walks. And that is absolutely not the case with Brian Hudson. His walk per nine numbers are really, really good. He's only got a 6% walk rate on the season. So I could see his walk per nine numbers reaching the mid to upper 70s. He's only allowed 3 home runs on the season. He's got a 69 home run per nine. Home run per nine could see a small boost as well. He's got a 96th percentile expected batting average and expected ERA, 91st percentile barrel percentage, and 83rd percentile hard hit rate. Really don't see the hits per nine going anywhere, but Ks per nine, walks per nine, home run per nine. I could see all of those getting a bump. I look for the southpaw Brian Hudson here to get a really nice rating increase. Like I said, nobody's really talking about him right now, so look for Brian Hudson to reach a 80 overall this week, or next week's roster update, 2 weeks from now, whatever it is. I have 30 of them right now. As you can see, I have 119 orders in for 120 subs. Hopefully I can get all those to go through, end up owning about 150 Brian Hudsons. I look to make a lot of stubs on him, and I really think highly of Brian Hudson. He's faced the Cubs a couple times this year and had some tough luck. I think he's only given up 4 runs this year, and I think 3 of those 4 runs he's given up against the Cubs. But when he's not pitching against Cubs, he's one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. Once again, bye Brian Hudson, and let's get on to our 4th player. Next, we are heading to left field to talk about an unbelievable player that once again is on a team that nobody's really talking about, and he's a player that nobody's really talking about. We are hitting the Quan in Cleveland. We're talking about Steven Quan here. Sorry for the cringe. He's hitting for a little bit of power this year. I didn't even mention. And I also didn't mention is he's batting 380. He's batting 380 right now. He's one of the best hitters in baseball that nobody talks about. He's got a 979 OPS this year, which for Steven Quan, that is absolutely insane. His career average is closer to the mid-700s. He's got a 99th percentile expected batting average, 90th percentile expected weighted on-base average. Versus left-handed pitching, he's hitting 431 this year. And versus right-handed pitching, he's hitting 357. You look at that contact versus right. You look at the contact versus left. He's got 96 and 99 versus those. But it's crazy to say that I think those numbers need to go up. That contact versus left, I mean, if he's hitting 431, that needs to be at like 110. If he's hitting 357 versus righties, I can see that bumping up to like 105. He only strikes out 7.7% of the time as well. He's got 97 vision, but if you really think about it, that could go up as well, because how many hitters do you see in Major League Baseball that only strike out 7.7% of the time? Not very often, because that's 99th percentile, one of the best in the majors at putting the bat on ball and getting base hits. We mentioned the power a little bit. And 163 at-bats this year. He has 4 home runs, which, isn't a lot. But in his career prior, his season high in home runs is 6, and that was in 2022 where he had 563 at bats. So if he's on pace to finish up with like 15 homers this year. So if he continues that little pop, he's got a 66 percentile expected slug, which is that's massive for Steven Quan. If he keeps hitting doubles, triples, homers, look for that power to get to like 60. Even if that power gets to 50 or 60, even wherever it can go, he's going to become a diamond player. He's already got the defense. He's got a little bit of speed. He's got the contact. He's got the vision. A little bit more power. A little bit more upgrade of that contact field. You're looking at Steven Quan becoming a diamond fairly easily. He's got a 153 ISO this year, which years prior he only had a 101 and a 102 ISO. Like I said, he's hitting for power somehow. So look for Quan to get upgrades in literally all the hitting categories as he deserves to. Isolated power, which I just mentioned, he's got a 153 ISO. Isolated power, I believe, is the difference between your batting average and your slug. I could be very wrong there. I've never actually looked up the term isolated power. I guess I kind of always assumed I thought that's what it meant. But yeah, for Steven Quan to get some power boost, some contact boost. And yeah, let's get into our fifth and final player. I know I've been rambling a little bit so far. So for my fifth and final player, I'll kind of get to the point a little bit. We're heading over to the shortstop. We're talking about MVP candidate Gunnar Henderson. Right now, he's going for 4,800 stubs. Somebody just put in a 4,950 order, but he's going for 4,800 stubs. Right now, 87 overall quick sells are 4,500, and 88 overall quick sells, if he gets upgraded, is 5,500, and 89 overall is 7,000, and 90 overall is 8,000. So just keep that in mind when you're investing in this player for him to get a potential upgrade. He's one of the very few guys in the MLB that is in the same stratosphere as Aaron Judge. He's an 87 overall and an MVP candidate. So to me, that math does not make a lot of sense. He's got a 971 OPS with 21 home runs and a 373 on base percentage. His K numbers aren't that great, but literally everywhere else, he is absolutely fantastic. Look for his discipline rises. He's at 88th percentile walk rate at 12.3%. He's hitting 297 versus left-handed pitching this year with a 1.017 OPS. So I think his contact and power numbers versus left-handed pitching get a bump. He's got a better OPS versus left-handed pitching than he does right-handed pitching. He also has 17 home runs versus right-handed pitching this year. Even though he's got 107, 108 power, I could see a scenario where he does get a slight bump to power, and I could also see him getting a slight bump to contact versus right-handed pitching. Go ahead and invest in Gunnar Henderson. If he gets a +1 or +2, you're making a couple thousand stubs a pop on him. Now, I did tell you guys I was going to give you a couple honorable mentions here before I dip out of here. So for the first, we're going to talk about a starting pitcher, and we are going to Boston. A lot of guys, I've seen comments about him. Tanner Houck for the Boston Red Sox is a very, very good pitcher. I just don't think the strikeout numbers are there for me to invest in him as much as I'd like to. I still bought some of them. I think he could go diamond. He has a good chance to go diamond. Like I said, I just want to see a little bit more Ks per 9 out of him in order for me to invest in him. We're going back to the Central for my next investment here. We're going back to the Brewers. We're talking about Christian Yelich. I mean, Christian Yelich, while the power numbers aren't there, he's looking, more and more like his MVP form. Last year, he had a pretty good season. This year, he's had a really good season. He was hurt for a little bit, but he's got an OPS over 900. He looks really, really good. I bought a few Christian Yelich's. He's a good investment you can make. He's going to be on Diamond Watch if he keeps performing like he's performing. And this one, I shouldn't even make it an honorable mention, but I wanted to stick to 5. We're going to be talking about relief pitchers, and we're going to the New York Mets. I was on Savant. I looked at the best pitchers with at least 50 batters faced, and this is who popped up. The Daniel Nunez for the New York Mets. He's got absolutely insane K numbers, really good walks numbers. He's been an absolutely insane pitcher for the Mets so far, even in his limited sample size. I own 34 of him, but as you can see by my active orders, I have a lot of orders into him. I think I have all those orders for 10, so I think I'm going to add up to 115 or so. Daniel Nunez, maybe 120, something like that. I really like him. I do see him going bronze. If he keeps pitching the way he's pitching, he could get some massive upgrades in the future. But anyways, that is all for me today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.